On Hard News tonight, taking a look at an in-depth report on Ghana's 1992 Republican Constitution guarantees free compulsory basic education for every child of school-going age. This is, however, not the case for most children that are born deaf. Most parents, in the hope of ensuring that the deaf children gain the ability to speak, send them to prayer camps rather than specialized schools for deaf.
In this week's In Depth, TV Africa's Kwete Nati explores the story of 7 deaf teachers who are battling to ensure such disadvantaged children who are deaf access basic education.
On the hill of Aplaku, a suburb of Accra, sits the House of Grace School for the Deaf and the 7 selfless deaf teachers, whose vision is committed to rewriting the life of 48 deaf pupils who, by their very disability, society and their families have written them off to the extent of denying them the basic right of access to education. Learning is joy, so says the motto of the school, perhaps a cliché chosen by the proprietors of the school to encourage the disadvantaged children who are starved of education to embrace the path they've chosen with optimism. The deaf pupils were scattered across the national capital, Accra, but with tenacity, the authorities of the deaf school scouted for these pupils by walking to the doors of every home that there was a deaf child that was not in school. Most of these pupils were either locked up in prayer camps due to outmoded beliefs their parents had about their disability, or were locked up in their homes and only used for menial jobs by their family.
There are different kinds of situations, different kinds of things that influence on that. The families may not know that it's possible for a deaf child to learn. They think that the deaf child cannot achieve like the hearing children do. That's why they leave the child at home. They don't send the child to school. Sometimes they may believe that later on the child will start talking. So they wait, or in some cases they put the child in hearing school where the child cannot understand anything. He cannot understand what the teacher is teaching and cannot communicate with the other pupils.
So dire is the situation of neglect and abandon of these pupils that this 19-year-old girl is beginning to learn the language of the deaf at the crèche. Like many others, they were marginalized in the homes by their parents, locked up and rejected, with no one to fight their cause of giving them the opportunity to access the right of education. Interestingly, this is the school where most pupils were taught how to wash their hands with soap before eating and after visiting the toilet. There is hope, so says the good books, with the glee on the faces of these pupils as they listen to the story of Mumbai and the hippo being read by Akushika, the kindergarten tutor. They are confident of integrating in society as better persons with a sense of pride.
Finished and they walk home. Father and Mumaizu together. It's time to go home.
Despite having spent several years at the hearing school, Master Amponsa Ashley is confident that though the journey to seeking basic education has been long for him, he would achieve the dream of working at becoming a pilot one day.
He was in a hearing school. Yeah, he was first in a hearing school before he came here. He wants to help at the airport. He would like to work in the airport. He wants to be a pilot.
He gains inspiration from his mathematics teacher who teaches them basic arithmetic. Clement Hammond is the mathematics teacher at the House of Grace School for the Deaf. He wanted to be an accountant after he completed school, but because he was deaf, his application letter was rejected by several officers. He is, however, hopeful of making his pupils better mathematicians with the skills he learned during his days of school.
Yeah, they don't go to study accountant to become accountant because they feel that they will not get work in the bank because they are deaf. Yeah, he wanted to become an accountant, but government said no, they will not accept him. He himself wanted to become an accountant, after finishing SHS, but government said no, they will not take him. Yeah, I don't believe that they should have different paper from the others, the different exams. I believe they should have the same. We are all living in the same community. We need the same skills.
The story is not all bleak, as Ms. Deck, one of the teachers, tells TV Africa News what motivates her to teach these pupils every day, despite the fact that she is deaf and has no tertiary education, a feat she intends to pursue in the future.
What has been one of her challenging experiences as a teacher?
Sometimes some children refuse, they won't do it. You beg, please come and do this, please come and do. Sometimes they just refuse before they agree to do the work.
Interestingly, as it is, these 7 deaf teachers are opening the gate of hope for these pupils to read and write, and discredit the belief that the deaf can access education and become a functional member of society.
Now